Hi, this is Mike O'Connor, EVP of Marketing at NuVoodoo Media Services, and I am here to review our first alert weather branding digital strategy for the radio industry. NuVoodoo, of course, comes up with marketing solutions designed to help television and radio broadcast partners do a better job in the ratings. We do a ton of research focused on those more likely to accept a diary or wear a personal people meter in Nielsen methodology, because that is the group of people that's most important to your brand's ratings. And so as a result, all of our marketing products are informed by research studies that we do. We do tons for our clients, but we also do two major studies every year to try to inform some decisions. And one of the things that comes back again and again, now I'm speaking about radio, in terms of the list of things that have caused people to actually change their behavior and spend more time or less time with a radio station, is weather. You can see here in our sample of 3,000 plus 14 to 54-year-olds, when we stack rank a whole bunch of different tune-in propositions, severe weather has always risen, and in our most recent June 2018 study, absolutely rose to near the top. And that is true no matter what demo we're looking at. From the youngest to the oldest demos, more than half of the audience, whether they're inclined to participate in Nielsen or not, have spent more time with terrestrial radio as the result of impending or current severe weather. And it's a format agnostic concept, but particularly powerful with spoken word, news and talk P1s. That is the #1 tune-in attribute among a laundry list of other things, some of which are more spoken word friendly than others. And of course, as we see in all of our studies, whenever we put the filter of those most qualified to participate in Nielsen, the more media active segment, the numbers go up. So that's our case for severe weather being a really big opportunity, particularly for information brands. And those of you who curate those brands know that severe weather imaging is important. And so what we've come up with is a way to merge AI and marketing, digital marketing, in a way that makes things dynamic, that allows us to do some probabilistic assumptions about keywords in NOAA weather forecasting, and come up with a solution that allows you to brand when it's most relevant to your audience. And so this weather branding tool, this predictive AI that we've got, is the newest addition to our ad tech stack. And we're using it to drive first alert weather branding campaigns, because we know severe weather can have a massive influence on your ratings. Planning campaigns that allow you to tout your brand as the station to turn to for up-to-the-minute forecasts and traffic and road conditions and closings, you can face a big problem. And that is, sometimes for weeks and weeks and weeks, while your expensive outdoor campaign or TV campaign is running about you being the station to turn to when the storm center opens, when the branding and all of the grips that you're running aren't relevant, are we really kind of are we allowing a lot of money to go down the drain unnecessarily? So that's where our tool comes in. Our goal is to try to help you run digital branding campaigns which dynamically respond to changes in the weather forecast. And that's what's important, because sometimes just the threat of severe weather that never materializes can be exactly what the doctor ordered for your ratings, creating more use, even if it turns out that the storm that was such a sure thing 3 days prior actually doesn't materialize. Because we're not. This is not about digital advertising designed to forecast the weather. This is digital advertising that will brand your storm center, your all hands on deck capability when severe weather breaks out. And whether that's, ice or sleet or severe thunderstorms or tornadoes or blizzards or high wind conditions or extreme temperatures, we have triggering weather conditions that can suit pretty much any market. And the possibilities for where we can distribute branding inventory is quite broad. It is on the platforms that drive about 95% of the unduplicated daily digital use in America among 14 to 54-year-olds. And that's the Google Display Network, and Facebook and Instagram, where we can run video ads and display ads. So we can pretty much saturate the market with this tool. And then, of course, the triggering weather conditions are tied to the NOAA forecast, updated every 3 hours. And then we can determine triggering events. And there could be a series of or statements depending upon what time of the year it is in your market. And we can rank the probabilities. So the branding would only trigger if keywords in the forecast would be in the machine, which is learning, assumption that on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the most likely for the severe weather event to occur sometime in the impending 72 hours, that would trigger your weather campaign. So basically, the ads serve in in your market during any 72-hour period when the conditions meet your rules. And of course, ads stop serving or don't serve whenever the conditions are not met. And that's the simplest thing, but it gets a little bit more detailed. We all know that as marketers, we're playing the hot zip game. We're looking to influence diary keepers or meter wearers in the zip codes that are a select portion of your overall market. No need to spend in market where the people not giving you the report card are. So we do have the ability to assign the rules by zip code. So you give us your 50 hottest zip codes, and each of those zip codes has to be matched to a weather forecast parameter that matches our triggering algorithms before ads will serve. So for most markets, when a snowstorm is coming into a metro, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference. But there are certain spread out metros like San Francisco or New York, where the weather can be very different in downtown Manhattan compared to Long Island, as an example. So just know that the weather can be triggered differentially. The weather branding can be triggered differentially in only certain zip codes and only zip codes that are affected at that time by the weather. So blizzards, severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, temperature extremes, heavy winds, heavy rains, all based on government forecast data that's updated every 3 hours. And of course, not that you probably needed this, if you follow our research, you know that the Google Display Network, Google is responsible for about 91% of all searches that take place. And of course, when you're searching for something, you land on a website that's part of the Google Display Network and you see an ad. And then of course, Facebook and Instagram, really, when you add the two of those distribution platforms up alone and deduplicate them and consider daily use or greater, the potential daily reach in pretty much any demo that you speak to is in the 99% level. And of course, what we're talking about is a bunch of dynamic creative, all that can be tied to your key messaging. And it's video content, display content, on social media, and on Google, and particularly on Google's smartphone networks, Gmail ads. When people check their Gmail, these can show up as promotional items. And of course, ads also get trafficked into Google Apps. And Facebook has its version of Google called the Audience Network, which is simply ComScore rated mobile sites and mobile apps that are off of the desktop-based platforms, off of the social media platforms, and out there in the real world of the webosphere. So your distribution is virtually ubiquitous. So here's how it works. You give us the branding videos and display ads in advance. Perhaps during the winter, we've got a winter-leaning series of imaging ads and videos. And then if your market transitions to tornado season and severe thunderstorm spring season, you can kind of switch things over there. If you're in a market with extreme heat, you only want to trigger branding when the temperatures get above 110 degrees. We can handle that. But so we're suggesting quarterly updates, and most markets are probably in a severe weather window over the course of a 4 to 6 month period at the most. So we think the budget applies mostly to severe weather season. We set up your hot zips, which we change out monthly, and then we trigger a weather branding when a keyword, a triggering keyword, is rated highly probable in any rolling 72-hour forecast updated every 3 hours. So your branding campaign turns on as soon as the meteorologists start talking about that winter storm that's on the way this weekend. And if, suddenly it's a false alarm and a couple of days later, the weather that severe weather probabilistic language drops out of the forecast, your branding campaign will turn off. Our goal, though, is to try to keep you live for 72 hours because we have to drive enough reach and frequency to make you effective, because the whole point of this exercise is to create tune-in based on the impending arrival of severe weather. Right? So in order to do that, we have to serve enough ads in the right zip codes with enough frequency to get the job done. And that's kind of the whole idea. And we just find that the three-day window works the best. Now, in terms of your digital campaigns, all the other targeting, if you've been with us as a client, you know what we're talking about. If you don't, we are able to parse everything by only the age, gender, and the zip codes that you want to be in. We have ways of using keywords, third-party targeting, and your own data to find that subset of the total audience, even within the demo, that are more likely to consume your radio station. So information seekers, those that are following other types of information media like cable news channels or subscribers to your local paper. All of that taxonomy can be rolled into targeting. We can also use people who've engaged with you on your website or on social media, and roll that first party audience up and create what are called lookalike audience, which are just other people that look from a data perspective to be like the audience that you're already engaging with. So all of those targeting overlays still apply, so we can be incredibly efficient. And then we design the campaigns to deliver over the course of a 3-day period to drive tune-in in advance of a severe weather event that's based on highly probable outcomes given machine learning triggering algorithms. A lot of buzzword bingo in there, but I think you get the idea. And then in terms of the cost, well, we've taken kind of our average size market in each of these kind of clusters to get an idea of what it would take in terms of the total available audience, the amount of frequency we need to come up with a total number of impressions on a 3-day flight. And so we think of this as sort of like a billboard budget, but instead of spreading out your billboards in traffic and taking 30 days to have enough impressions in order to move the meter, this is about pulsing in 3-day flights. So in the biggest markets, we think we can be very effective with saturation marketing for less than $6,500. And let's assume there's kind of 7 3-day bursts over the course of a year. You're talking about an annual severe weather branding budget of under $45,000. And a lot of our clients who use this pair it with their digital outdoor digital signage that's creating tune-in off topic A. And then, of course, as you go down in market size, the audience that you have to impact goes down in size. And so the reach, the frequency, the impressions, and the costs go down accordingly. So we're suggesting between $500 and $6,000 a flight, depending upon how big a city you serve. And then budgets are going to be in that $5,000 to $45,000 range annually, spread out probably over a 4 to 6 month period. So these are estimates. We obviously want to do some zip code analysis work and give you a precise quote if this is something you're interested in. So it's for managed services, weather technology, and the cost of ad spend. There's no additional cost. We roll, what we do and our service into the CPM, but you can see it's, $11 or so, give or take. So in case you're worried about, I don't know if I have enough severe weather alerts over the course of a year to make this matter, I've assembled some NOAA statistics, and this is simply a look at just the number of tornado watches that took place between 1 and 2, the light blue, to 15 to 16 in the heart of Texas and Louisiana and so forth, Mississippi. And then we have severe thunderstorm watches over here, and the pockets in purple represent 15 to 16. Even the darker blue shaded regions have 9 to 10 severe thunderstorm watches in a particular year. And then, of course, you can flip the script and look at snow and ice. And it's a little bit different map, but this will give you an idea of the amount of severe winter weather watches, winter storm watches that take place per year. In the darkest blue areas, it's about 6. In some places up in the high plains and the Rockies, it's double that. Here in northern New England, it's high. And then, of course, this is your snowfall averages, which this is 2015 data. Things are likely to change. And in terms of what you get out of us, we take care of everything except the creative, although we certainly can, for an additional cost, design creative, at least the display ads for you. We rely on you to provide videos. It's all under our best practices guidance. We take care of all the setup, the targeting, the tweaks, the communication back and forth, letting you know when your weather branding is triggered, so you, as the boots on the ground in your city, can always put an end to it. We'll split test different creative for you and make sure we optimize by playing the spots that seem to resonate the most with you. We'll build all of your targeting and retargeting universes by aggregating your first-party data and creating lookalike universes where that's available. We'll give you metrics after every flight, at least bi-weekly if we're running more than 1 3-day flight in a 2-week period. And obviously, a big part of what we do is we do so much digital media. We can give you ongoing best practices in terms of what's going to impact. We'll write copy for you. We'll take the copy you give us and suggest tweaks. And as I mentioned, we can also do some art design. So that's a very quick overview of first a weather alert branding campaigns. You can reach out to me at this address. Any of my partners here can help you. And I'll just keep this on the screen for a moment to allow you to play pause, get our number or our email address, give us a ring, and let's talk about how we can help you in your city. And thank you.